Speaking of something next, Richard, let's talk about you caused acroporas to spawn.
I did, again. I'm so tired, Ben.
I know you're tired. I don't even know if you want to talk about it, but
I'm so
tired. To talk about it.
So it's a split spawn this year. And I didn't expect that. I didn't want that. Which means that there was a spawn in November, and then I just had a spawn on the 18th of December. And since that spawn, I'm doing a bunch of stuff a little bit differently than I did last time. And I learned a shit ton, which is amazing. And I'm very excited for trying this again, because I think I have some ideas about how to make it better. But this time I was constantly building new stuff to be able to deal with the new larvae and the old settlers. And then I was doing time lapses to chase a thing that I've been chasing for a long time, which is actually watching a planula settle. And
can we show that right here?
Do you want to see that right now? I can find that.
And even if, Snowman splices it in, or whether you share it, because it is insane.
We'll get Snowman the next
because it's actual. You did this like macro shot or whatever you want to call it, and this in a time lapse. So this little planula comes into the focus and is going up and down these hills and valleys, like almost like a dog trying to find a spot on its bedding, like it's sort of going around the same spot.
Here, I'm launching it now. We'll put it on. So nice. Over Christmas, I've been doing this in my, the utility room on the other side of the wall behind me. I've had a space heater running that room at 80 degrees for the last 8 days.
Because stay up late too?
Oh yeah. It's basically everything's been running 24/7, but it's a tiny little tank from PNW Customs. It's actually, those little tanks they make?
Yeah.
So it's actually the sump from that tank.
Oh.
And I sent Harley a picture of it. And he's like, let me make you something. And I was like, next time, but thank you. I also ordered a bunch of, we'll get to that, a bunch of racks from him because a new idea. But so the larvae have been in there for like 8 days just hanging out. And I do like a water change, which is like a cup every day. And they settled, the last one settled. I saw one settling last night. Kill me. It's got to end. And
I was joking with Richard because I was telling him like he's shouting into the microphone, like, what are you looking for?
Totally. It looks like they're stopping settling, though. There's some that haven't settled. There's the planula are still there, but I think they got to be on their way out now.
If they don't settle, they just die, right?
They just die. But every single substrate I've looked at has got settlers on it. But that's a whole lot of more info. So anyway, it's my daughter's here. My wife is here. They're very generous. Every half an hour or so, I get up to go check on stuff, and I stay up late, and I'm tired all day and
cranky.
It's been wonderful. But let me share my screen and I'll show this video.
I'm going to see it, and I sort of want to narrate it because remember, people listen as well.
Okay, but are you seeing it now on the screen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to hit play.
So it's very close up, and it's like calcareous algae, but it's like a sort of a valley, and this amoeba looking blob is sort of like looking around, sniffing around, going in a circle, and then it settles in this sort of crevice, but then it's weird. Then it like develops a mouth and sort of changes the way it looks. And meanwhile, there's a bunch of weird stuff going on. The one thing I was asking you, because you were saying that bubbles were coming out of coralline algae, and I suppose it's oxygen, but I was like, coralline algae farts?
It all farts. So I'm going to play this again just real quick. And I'll narrate it. This is a time lapse. So the planula swims over, and it's got the opening on the tail end already, but it pushes the front end down, and then it goes from an elongated form to a pancake. And then the back side of it, it's got adhesive on it. And I love in this video, you can see stuff through a bubble. And then I've got more of this video as well. and more video to add. I'm going to stop
that-
screen sharing. I've got
is
more
that two
video to add.
others?
I've got it all. I've got like 5 days of this fucking thing sitting there. And then I took a little break and gave them a little break 2 nights ago. I turned the light off because the algae's growing crazy. I turned the light off and I came back and another fucking planula had settled right next to the first one. And I didn't catch that one.
Yeah.
But I think I have another one that they caught. So I've been chasing that footage for 10 years.
Wow.
And I did it with an iPhone.
No way.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty excited. I haven't even looked at the rest of the footage because I'm too tired. And
You're just capturing it and not.
yeah. And then I've got a bajillion settlers over here, and I got to figure out what I'm going to do with those. And I'm supposed to leave on the 4th. And so it's always exciting. Each step is a nightmare of things to keep track of. I don't even think I'm talking in any way that's cogent about it. You know, I'm so all over the place and tired.
You're like 23 monster drinks in.
Yeah, I just want it all to work. Because if it works, next time becomes much easier. And the things I try next time make more sense to try because I've done it the way I did it last time. You know, I am blown away that they settled. There was the initial mass settling, and then it stopped, and then I got them to settle some more. It feels like I was kind of able to trigger them to settle a couple of times. So I've got all kinds of stuff to try next time. And I was telling Snowman tonight that Snowman was like, I showed this video and Snowman was like, there's no scale. By the way, in that video, my signature, the watermark is about 2 millimeters. Okay. If you go back and watch. But he was like, they were like, there's no scale bars. And I was like, I'm so happy not to be, doing thorough, robust science. This is hobby. This is joy. This is pleasure. I can try things easier. I don't have to convince anybody or make sure. I just have to think it's a great idea and then try it and see if it is or not. And it's been really freeing. But next time I hope to keep a more detailed journal rather than just getting through it.
The hope is someday that instead of fragging that, we're making thousands of, there's going to be some point where, for a long time, the juice won't be worth the squeeze, but eventually, hopefully it would.
Yeah, I also don't think fragging's ever going to go away. I think a very efficient way to deal with this is to grow these out for a year and then make frags and then sell those frags. So it's still the genetic diversity. We can actually track it if we bother to do genetics on all of them. And in a sense, it's easier. Those tiny corals, I'm trying something new, and I know what Jamie says Jamie does, but I don't actually know what Jamie does.
Jamie Craigs.
I should probably go there one year for a spawning, but they're always so busy that, I might be in the way. I'm not sure what Rebecca's doing. So Rebecca and I were saying we should get a bunch of people together and have a Zoom and talk about what we did and what worked and what didn't. Let's get to the practical part of this now rather than the paper part of this is my thought. So trying stuff. Raising coral is hard. Raising millimeter coral is a nightmare. So I'm trying new stuff to make it less of a nightmare, and we'll see how that goes. Am I making any sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I know you're super tired, but yeah, you are.
Okay. What else can I tell you? And we should do a whole episode where I walk us through the whole thing.
Oh, totally. Because beefers, watching this, not to beat a dead horse, but literally Richard has been staying up and just like living his life in a weird way doing this. So we will circle back and do this when Richard is more cogent. But to be honest with you, you are being cogent though. Thank you.
And I want to say what I'm doing is crazy. I think if you wanted to spawn corals, you could do it less crazy than me. Why I'm crazy is because number one, I want it to work so desperately because it's so early on. And two, I want to figure out how to make it easier. What makes the most sense? The idea that you want to capture as many settled planula as possible, maybe bankrupt. We may only need, 20 frag plugs to capture settlers on. That's a reasonable amount of work for somebody to do over the next 3 months, rather than 500.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've got a picture of my favorite settler from last month, and I put that substrate in for the settlement from this month, and I've got a month-old settler and a 2-day-old settler next to it in a picture, and I think that's freaking awesome. Corals are so awesome. It's incredible that I can't believe I'm doing this in my house. It's crazy.
Well,
Crazy.
yeah, I mean, you can't even, I'm not like pumping Richard, but I'm just saying, like, how many even people, I'm not saying this as an ego thing. I'm just saying, like, how many people have even done this?
6
people?
17.
Is that a mine story?
I don't know how many people have done. Well, only Jamie and I have done it in home aquaria, as far as I know. And it's very different to do it without the resources of an institution behind me. It's both harder and easier. If I need baby urchins, I've got to find somebody with baby urchins and then buy them. If I was still at an institution, I could get them from another institution that happened to have them, or ask another institution to help out. There's lots of things like that. I'm fucking going to be hatching brine shrimp now.
Sea monkeys.
Delicious baby monkeys.
Delicious monkeys.